So that was the Shadows of Change trailer, the upcoming DLC for Total War Warhammer 3. We now finally have a release date, the 31st of August. Obviously, we knew this DLC was coming thanks to the Warhammer 3 roadmap that Creative Assembly released earlier in the year, and that vaguely told us to expect new content for Tzeentch, Grand Cathay, and Kislev. But now we have a dedicated blog post that has a whole host of information, as well as the Steam store page. I'll pop links to both of them in the description if you want to have a read through yourself. I'm going to go through both of those bits of information, share kind of my thoughts and impressions and opinions as we go through, pick out the key bits of information. I can also talk about my content plans now as well for this DLC, as alongside this trailer and blog post and Steam store page information, Creative Assembly have kindly given me early access to the DLC itself. And from the 17th of August, I can start creating content for you guys. But I'll talk a little bit about my content plans in a moment. First of all, let's dive on in and find out what's included in this DLC. So this pack introduces 3 new legendary lords, one for Tzeentch, one for Grand Cathay, and one for Kislev. For Tzeentch, it's the Changeling. For Grand Cathay, it's the Jade Dragon Yuan Bow. And for Kislev, it's Mother Ostankia. Each bring their own unique campaign mechanics to their races with separate goals from the Ursa storyline in the Realm of Chaos campaign. So you won't be following the same narrative campaign in the Realm of Chaos campaign. You'll have your own narrative objectives with those factions, which is something I really like that they do when they add in DLC. They did exactly the same thing in Warhammer 2. Compared to the Vortex campaign that was the main narrative. When they introduced new legendary lords, they had their own separate narrative objectives, because sometimes it's nice to play on that slightly more focused, smaller map. So I'm certainly looking forward to checking out what those objectives are like, as well as obviously being able to use these new legendary lords on the Immortal Empires campaign as well. So some of the kind of standout features with these 3 new legendary lords, the Changeling is all about scheming and trickery. For Grand Cathay Yuan Bow, it's all about establishing and executing grand stratagems. And for Mother Ostankia of Kislev, it's all about powerful hexes and incantations while engaging in witchcraft and various bits and pieces there. So you'll also be able to utilize the new legendary hero, which is a new legendary hero for Tzeentch, the Blue Scribes of Tzeentch. And there's 12 additional units being added into the game with this DLC, with 9 new regiments of renown. So each of these legendary lords has their own objective and focus compared to the other legendary lords in their existing races and factions. For the Changeling, it's all about schemes and trickery. The Changeling's inscrutable and deceiving nature is a perfect recipe for schemes and trickery. For the Changeling, the world is divided into theatres, segmented regions that contain schemes, both minor and pivotal. Fueled by an unending legion of tricksy cultists to achieve his goals, he must first break a theatre down through smaller, cheekier schemes by constructing buildings, stealing identities, and instigating tensions amongst otherwise civilized populations, culminating in a grand scheme and an epic battle for supremacy, rife with bountiful rewards along the way. So for the Changeling, it sounds like a very different playstyle compared to pretty much any other faction. It'll be really interesting to see how he plays out. I'm super excited to finally get around to doing a Tzeentch campaign, because I've not done one yet. So I think this will be a lot of fun. Talking about the legendary hero, the Blue Scribes, that you'll get as part of this DLC for Tzeentch. They ride atop their Disc of Tzeentch, scribbling on parchment as they go, and they're capable of spewing all manner of spells across the battlefield by verbalizing their scrolls. If only they knew what those words meant. So they look like they're going to cause a lot of chaos, but also hopefully be a really fun unit to utilize, a really fun hero to utilize. For Grand Cathay, the Jade Dragon Yuan Bow, he serves 2 roles between his human and dragon forms. Jade Dragon can be a devastating single-target destroyer and a potent spellcaster with Light, Yin, and Heaven's Law of Magics. Soar above the battlefield as a dragon, burning down even the strongest of enemy units, or take the fight on the ground with game-changing spells at your side. I've got to admit, I do love that, dragon transformation that the Cathay Lords have. The legendary lords have, and I'm really looking forward to another dragon campaign. So yeah, Yumbo's whole kind of focus is all about controlling the state. So engage in a chess match unlike any other with the matters of state. That'll be the primary mechanic for Yonbo. As a master statesman, a right hand to the emperor and a spy master, Yonbo's influence over the kingdom runs deep. With this power, enact overt and covert policies across settlements, armies, and even characters to best suit your empire's needs. Crack down on settlement corruption, rush construction for your entire empire in a single move. I've got to admit, since they added in rush construction with Chaos Dwarves, I'm ominously wanting other factions to have some way of having that as an option. Not all the time, to obviously not take that away from Chaos Dwarves, but I really like that feature of being able to, in certain scenarios, being able to rush construction through. So it'll be interesting to see how, that can potentially benefit Cathay, but it sounds like, that will be very a limited option for you to engage with only in the most dire of times. You can also create diplomatic deadlocks to move freely through unfriendly territories and much, much more. Cool, some depth with diplomacy. That's always good. Go beyond mere balance and embrace disharmony, leveraging it as an excuse to serve more severe and extreme actions to fit your agenda, and plan chains of actions to ensure the balance of harmony is pulled back in your favor when all is said and done. So that's an interesting way of kind of changing up the harmony mechanic, because previously you always wanted to get back into harmony. So it'd be interesting to see what the, I guess, counterpoint to that, the counter boon potentially is to going into disharmony to an extreme, I guess. Obviously, I imagine there'll be plenty of negatives, but it sounds like there may well be some kind of powerful boon to potentially utilize for some extreme actions for certain scenarios. You've also got to empower the compass with Yonbo with a plan centuries in the making. Under the request of Yonbo's father, the Jade Dragon is tasked with traveling to critical locations and constructing relays to empower the Jade Compass before defending them from the Lizardmen incursions trying to dismantle Cathay. So that's, empower the compass is his kind of narrative objective. So you'll be facing off against Lizardmen. That'd be interesting. That'd be different. Nice. For Kislev, Mother Ostankia, tales of monsters and boogeymen have haunted many lands for centuries, but the tale hanging above the Kislevite children, a reminder of the consequences for displaying a disobedience, was not just a tale. Mother Ostankia is real, a guardian faithful to the land, holding anyone who seeks to harm it accountable. She draws her power from the very woods, fens, and oblasts that she protects. When war comes to her door, she'll be on the front lines protecting the warriors of Kislev and inflicting her terror upon any who oppose them. And if you cross her path, make no mistake, Mother Ostankia will punish you. As a powerful sorceress and a bespoke melee combatant, Mother Ostankia utilizes her cauldron on and off the battlefield, able to rain spirits down upon her foes from afar or sprout the legs of a spider in melee combat as an artillery chariot hybrid. I mean, that just sounds absolutely mental, and I'm 100% here for that. The Witch's Hut. The daughters of the forest must infuse Mother Ostankia's witchcraft at the Witch's Hut with a new rare resource, Spirit Essence. You can take advantage of ingredients gathered during your playthrough to create potent incantations and utilize hexes to vastly change the course of your entire campaign. So sounds like Kislev Grom the Paunch to a degree. If you've got a cauldron that you can mix and match ingredients. To be honest, I really enjoyed Grom the Paunch. I think he was probably one of the most fun campaigns I've played in Warhammer 2. I really liked his mix and match cauldron, his food ingredients. So Mother Ostankia sounds like she's got something similar, but for her hexes. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out. You can force enemy armies from your lands in an instant. Wow, okay, like just push them all back, purge them, what? Purge entire provinces of corruption in a single move, buff your units far beyond their given capability, and unleash the full might of the witch as you search for the Malediction of Ruin, Mother Ostankia's final hex, to ensure the sanctity of Kislevite land. Well, that sounds really cool as well. All of these narrative objectives that these three new legendary lords have sound really interesting. Obviously, very different from the Urson storyline. So it'll be interesting to see how those all play out in the Realm of Chaos campaign. I assume they're obviously just specific to the Realm of Chaos campaign. I imagine they're just kind of more generic objectives in the Immortal Empires campaign for those that prefer a more sandbox experience. There's not a huge amount on what units are specifically included in this DLC just yet, although it does mention the Mutalith Vortex Beast for Tzeentch, which is a horrific fusion of monster and magic created by the powers of chaos beyond any justifiable reason. It brings raw magical destruction to the table with violent spectacle, so that sounds pretty cool. And it won't take a compass to find the new additions for the Cathayan roster. Crafted by the Wizards of the Celestial Court, Guardian Lions are living statues made from jet or jade. For those seeking a magical touch, the Jade Lion is a conduit of sorcery, able to use spells bound to its body and launch flaming attacks. The Jet Dragon, however, is the opposite, countering magical spells to diminish any sorcery that may harm themselves or those nearby. And for Kislev, the new Kislevite units lurk in the woods, a terrifying and a terrible and frightening creature known to many as the Thing in the Woods brings its enormous size and infantry sundering capability to the front lines of Kislev. Left unchecked, this beast will tear through enemy troops like paper before rushing into the woods for cover and emerging to do it all over again. That sounds absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to check those guys out on the battlefield. So before we dive into the blog post that came alongside this trailers day and just kind of pick through some more specifics for the Changeling and for Tzeentch and how his mechanics work, briefly want to talk about what my content plans are for this DLC. So as I mentioned before, I can start releasing content from the 17th of August. That's when the first embargo drop occurs. And that is an embargo drop for the Changeling, for Tzeentch, and for Yarnbo, the Jade Dragon of Grand Cathay. Mother Ostankia, her embargo is a week later, but actually that kind of works out okay for me because at the moment I probably only have space on my schedule for 2 new series. So what I'll do is I'll do a Changeling Realm of Chaos campaign because I've never done a Tzeentch campaign so far, and I think I'd quite like to do the narrative, objective-focused campaign with Tzeentch there, with the Changeling, and then I'm going to do an Immortal Empires campaign with the Jade Dragon, Yarnbo, for Grand Cathay, because I previously played Grand Cathay on the Realm of Chaos campaign, so it'd be nice to play that, a second Cathay campaign, but on a much larger, grander map that is Immortal Empires, and yeah, it'll be interesting to interact with his unique mechanics. Okay, we won't quite get the narrative objective storyline there, but hopefully we'll still have some good challenges and a lot of fun playing in Cathay on Immortal Empires, because the only time we've played in Cathay on Immortal Empires is when I was conquering it as Chaos Dwarves. So defending it and building it up and unifying Cathay, I think this time around with the Jade Dragon will be a lot of fun. So yeah, Changeling Realm of Chaos campaign will be a straight to YouTube recorded only series, and we'll start with that on the 17th. At the same time, I will also start the Jade Dragon Yarnbo series on Immortal Empires. It's Grand Cathay, but that'll be a series that I stream on Twitch and record and edit at the same time to then upload here on YouTube. You'll hopefully, if things all go to plan, you'll get the Changeling at 3 p.m. BST on the 17th, and then you'll get part 1 of Yarnbo the Jade Dragon probably at 8 p.m. BST on the 17th once I finish the stream and done a quick turnaround on that first episode. But yeah, then the plan will be to have 3 uploads a week of both of those series. Potentially maybe a little bit more with the Jade Dragon campaign, just depends how often I stream it, but I'll likely be streaming it the following week pretty much throughout. Although when Mother Ostankia's embargo does drop, while I won't be starting a full new campaign with her, I may well do like a first look at her, check out her faction, check out her mechanics, and probably do either a dedicated video recording or stream and record that and then upload it as well. But yeah, basically whichever finishes first, the Changeling Tzeentch campaign or the Jade Dragon Grand Cathay campaign, I will then replace that finished series with a Mother Ostankia Kislev campaign, which I think I'll do that on Immortal Empires, but maybe by then I'll have I'll set up a poll actually to decide whether that's Immortal Empires, seeing as we'd already done a Zarina Katerin Realm of Chaos campaign when the game first came out. But I guess if those of you want to see some more of the narrative objective focus, then I guess, yeah, we'll have a poll perhaps to decide for that Kislev campaign with Mother Ostankia, whether it's Realm of Chaos or Immortal Empires. But yeah, Lots of new content coming then over the next week or so going on. So it's going to keep us pretty darn busy. So I hope you guys are excited. Let me know in the comment section which of my kind of 2 initial campaigns are you most excited for, Changeling Tzeentch or the Jade Dragon Yuan Bo for Grand Cathay. So jumping on to the Shadows of Change blog, I'm just going to again pick out some of the key bits of information that they have announced. Obviously, as well, worth mentioning that alongside this DLC will be Update 4.0, a massive free patch available to everyone, regardless of whether you pick up the DLC. So yeah, there'll be plenty of content as part of that patch, I'm sure. I don't have the patch notes for that just yet. Once I do get access to those patch notes, I will of course make a video and share my thoughts on them as well where possible. But yeah, let's just go on through. So this blog post that they released today is primarily focusing on the new stuff for Tzeentch. It's obviously talking about the legendary heroes, the blue scribes, and the Changeling and his mechanics. I think I'm just going to focus on the Changeling's mechanics here. Again, if you want to go through the blog post as well and find out more information, you can have a look in the description and click that link there. So yeah, Trickster's Cult's Changeling does not care for settlements of his own. Indeed, he outright refuses to capture any. Okay, so instead he infiltrates already established settlements and plants his cults deep within their city walls. So kind of building on, I guess, you know, almost like the Undercity mechanic of the Skaven, but unlike the Skaven, which could also have their own settlements and cities, the Changeling doesn't settle any. He just lives purely off siphoning off and infiltrating other faction settlements to create his cults. That's really cool, very different. After besting a settlement in battle, okay, the Changeling may choose to sack or raise what he has conquered, or instead sneak in his cults undetected. From the enemy's perspective, he's attacked, taken what he wanted, and left quickly, as quickly as he appeared. So they don't know, yeah, that he's actually decided to infiltrate the settlement. If only this were true. Now, ruling secretly from within, the Changeling may either construct either parasitic or symbiotic buildings within a settlement for a variety of benefits, achieving a delicate balance for long-term gain or indulging in short-term chaos. Perfect. Symbiotic buildings can increase the settlement's main income, upping how much treasure can be siphoned from it. So you actually boost the income for a settlement. Wow. And you can spread propaganda to improve diplomacy and turn factions against one another. On the other hand, parasitic buildings are designed to cripple the host settlement, enabling the spread of corruption in an infiltrated region, opening risks for demon armies to ravage the settlement or plundering it from within without the need to siege city walls. That's really cool. Just remember, a parasite is more easily discovered than a mere symbiote. Okay, yeah, so there's going to be a higher chance of discovery if you go for the parasitic options than the symbiotic ones. Ultimately, however, the Changeling loves chaos. When a faction has learnt to trust him, he may opt to self-destruct his secret buildings and deploy his own armies, spawn rebels at the border, or plunder the settlement without ruffling too many feathers. Stealth is key, however, as making too much noise increases the risk of being discovered. And Karl Franz isn't going to be happy when he learns that Altdorf has been used as a conduit for the Changer of Ways' most perplexing prankster. You also have schemes as the Changeling. The Changeling perceives the world as a series of theatres, battlegrounds of wit in which he can enact schemes that sow discord, gain rewards, open rifts, and continue onwards along the path to the grand scheme. With enough schemes enacted within a theatre, perhaps by taking the form of Manfred von Karstein and commanding his thralls to perform a ritual at Castle Drakenhof, a grand scheme becomes available. This triggers a mighty set-piece battle that, when victorious, showers the Changeling with special rewards and campaign-changing consequences. The Changeling's scheming doesn't just exist within the campaign layer either. He can use the resources gathered from schemes to assist in battle and throw off the opponent's strategy with wildcard spells and abilities. Take down Orion's forces, Orion himself, while leveling the battlefield with Skaven Doom rockets for some unexpected destruction, or acquire Khorne's chainsword and use it against him. Yes, I'm glad that they're giving you the opportunity to kind of bring in those crazy powerful weapons that were in the various Chaos God realms. That's cool. But also, sorry, this is telling me that the Changeling can utilize Skaven Doom rockets somehow. Yes, please. Okay, the Changeling just sounds absolutely amazing. Brilliant. So there's only really one other key bit of information to share and discuss now, and that is the price, which for me is the only real negative bit of information that we've got from this DLC announcement today. Otherwise, I think the new Legendary Lords, their unique faction mechanics and campaign gameplay, their unique narrative objectives all sound brilliant, and I'm really keen especially to check out the Changeling. But they all sound really interesting, and I'm really excited to play as them. But the price. So it's $19.99 Great British pounds, $24.99 US dollars, and $24.99 euros. Now, I fully appreciate costs increase and that they're a business. They've got to make a profit. But this is quite a dramatic jump up in price compared to previous Legendary Lord packs that we've had. Okay, in the past we've only had 2 Legendary Lords included in the DLC. Yes, we used to get one as free DLC. That's now been replaced with Legendary Heroes. In this pack, obviously, we're getting 3 new Legendary Lords and a Legendary Hero. But I do feel it's quite a jump and a stretch to go from, say, what was Twisted in the Twilight. I'm just having a quick look here. That was $7.99 Great British pounds. To then add another Lord and a Legendary Hero, taking that up to $19.99. I personally feel that a better price point for this would have been something like $14.99 Great British pounds, which I guess would come in at around about $20, 20 euros. But yeah, it does seem like quite a big jump up. I know, obviously, a lot of people, myself included, weren't happy either with the price of the Chaos Dwarves, you know, because that was also $19.99, I think, as well. That adding in a whole new race, I guess, maybe is slightly more justifiable with the 3 Legendary Lords that we had there. But, you know, ultimately, it is a struggle because, you know, my value for money price point may well be different from somebody else's. You know, looking at Chaos Dwarves now that I've completed some campaigns with them, and I've still got some running, I feel like I'm definitely getting my value for money in terms of hours to cost. I mean, what I often tend to break down, you know, costing wise, is can I get an hour per pound or can I get an hour per dollar from additional content? And I can certainly, you know, meet the, you know, the $19.99. I can certainly meet the £20, 20 hours of content in Chaos Dwarves comfortably. I can easily hit 40, probably even 60, because I'd probably say a campaign's about 20 hours minimum with each of those lords. But it's just the increase in cost of these DLCs, these additional content. It's creeping up higher and higher. And while, yes, we are getting slightly more content than we had before, and I think CA have been very good at adding in additional and more in-depth campaign mechanics, certainly throughout Warhammer 3 and towards the end of Warhammer 2 with DLC there, they definitely added more depth to new lords and races and factions. I think this is quite a substantial jump for a lord pack. So yeah, that's my only negative takeaway from this right now, that it is too high. I think $14.99 would have been a better price point. So yeah, British pounds or $20 or 20 euros. Let me know your thoughts on the pricing. You know, do you feel it's fair that CA are charging more for this right now, or do you agree that, you know, having it drop down a bit further would have been you know, more in line with expectations and what you would want to pay for this DLC? It is worth mentioning that it's currently got a 10% off deal on Steam. Now, I'm like 99% sure I can do better than that for you guys. I'm sponsored and partnered with Games Planet, who are an authorized, legitimate key selling site. They partner directly with the likes of Creative Assembly and Sega to get their keys directly from the publishers and developers, and then they do their own magic to offer crazy deals and discounts. But they're not a grey market key site. They don't do a weird credit card scam marketplace. They offer legitimate deals and keys directly from publishers and developers. So I don't have that discount available just yet, but I will post on the community tab, and I'll update the pinned comment here on YouTube when I do get that information through, which hopefully will be in the next day or two. It may even be here by the time this video goes out, because Games Planet are normally pretty quick. But I guarantee if the base discount is 10%, Games Planet will probably add an additional 5% or potentially even 9%. They typically go for additional discount to offer a total amount of either 15 to 19% off. So if you like the idea of this DLC, don't like the full price, full cost, then, you know, either wait for Games Planet or shop around. You know, support another creator that has another deal for you guys, or find another site that offers you this DLC at a price point that you're more comfortable and happier with. But yeah, I think the initial price point they've set it at is too high. This needs to be an absolutely cracking DLC, which I think it's got all the right elements in there right now. But until I can get stuck in and start playing it, and you know, and seeing what all those faction mechanics are, it's really hard from the offset to look at that price point and go, yeah, that's fair, because I don't think it is right now. So have to wait and see. Once I start my own campaigns and dive on in, we'll find out together through that. But yeah, share your thoughts on everything that you've seen and heard today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, my Changeling Tzeentch Realm of Chaos campaign will be starting on the 17th of August at 3 p.m. BST. And I'll also, at the same time that goes live, be live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/LionheartX10, streaming the start of my Jade Dragon Yonbo Grand Cathay series on Immortal Empires. And as I said, I'm hoping to then quickly turn around, edit and render up the first episode to go out later on the 17th itself. Failing that, it'll go out on the 18th. So yeah, until the next one, I hope you've enjoyed. Take care, and ciao for now.